This patient is a 86-year-old lady. During a follow-up for breast cancer, this lesion was found on a CT scan. It's a pedunculated lesion, I think, just in the rectosigmoid. This is the stalk. And here, this is the upper Houston valve. This is the polyp. We are using a Fujifilm scope, EG 760Z.
A gastroscope.
Gastroscope, yeah, it's a gastroscope. This is the LCI view. This is the MBI view. So I've not seen demarcated areas within the polyp, even if, of course, assessing all the surface is not easy in this case.
Do you think it's relevant, demarcated area in this polyp in particular? Why might it not be so relevant as a...
We're gonna cut it at the base anyway, but...
Yeah. So I do think that that's an important point. We made it last time with PJ, but you almost certainly were in the other room doing procedures. That in pedunculated polyps, of course, you have a nice margin, so we're going to resect it anyway, whatever it is. So looking at this, what do you think?
Well, the stalk...
You want a snare, or?
I mean, I think it's doable, definitely, but we may run the risk of having major bleeding, like difficult to control. And yeah, this is the reason for ESD. The stalk looks thin, relatively thin, as we can see here.
Did you catch much of the resection of the last case?
No,
I mean, in terms of the difference, for the others who did watch the last case, the difference between this, do you mind to just pause on the stalk a minute? The difference between this and the last case is how this one is very accessible front and back. The only thing that might be difficult might be the underside, but actually I think that can be quite easily solved. This stalk is much thinner than the other stalk of the last procedure. And I agree with you, Andrea, that you could do this with a snare, but also you may encounter major bleeding. If you just look here, in the bottom of this image, coming in at the 9 o'clock, is a large vessel that carries on down the stalk. So I think that ESD is also a completely acceptable option for this lesion. So, given that we will do ESD, how do you want to begin?
So first, marking to, as we said, for the multiple reasons.
Do you think it's actually maybe a little wider than we can see in this image of the stalk? Because when you saw it in that image just now, it looked quite narrow, but actually under here, maybe it's got more meat to it, or is that just because it's sitting down there?
Yeah, I think the position, talking about position, is optimal. It's naturally driven towards the anum. So yeah,
it's optimal for the top. It's maybe not optimal for the bottom. So, but we could potentially change that halfway through the procedure. Certainly, it's optimal to start it. So,
and as John said before, maybe towards the end it will become better after the dissection. So,
and if not, we do something else.
Would you do a circumferential incision or just start? Okay, I agree. So marking. So we're gonna use a dual J knife from Olympus.
Yeah, the 1.5 variety, I think. And just
we don't have the injection.
Yeah, so right now we've got pedals, and what colors are the pedals again? So we've got two color pedals. One is blue, and that is for lifting, so in knife injection, and black is for so first question, where are you gonna put the marks? Right on the base?
Yeah, I would say just here, where I think like the interface between the muscle and the submucosa is So I would say more or less here at the base.
So what are the advantages of marking more up, and what are the disadvantages? Because it's quite a long stalk, right?
Yeah.
Just show the whole thing. What are the advantages of marking in the middle? Because still this would give you a big margin. What are the pros and cons?
Of course, oncological radicality
Yeah.
is
Less.
dramatically different. So we would just, I think, try to do is as safe as possible and as oncologically radical as possible. So we would try to have an R0 resection in case of invasion of the stalk, which might be the case in this case.
Okay, I agree with that fully. What are the downsides of going right on the colonic wall?
That we may, the muscle may be retracted towards the lumen, but the size of the polyp. So we may run the risk of damaging the muscle. So we have to be careful.
So is there maybe some compromise that we come a little bit off the wall?
Yeah, somewhere like this.
Yeah, some little polyp there, maybe a little hyperplastic thing on that blood vessel. What do you think that is? Is that relevant?
No, I don't think it's relevant, to be honest.
What do you think it is? Nice imaging, beautiful imaging. Is that a polyp or what is that?
Well, it looks regular indeed, but
Can be hyperplastic?
I think it can be.
Where are we?
We're in the
How far in are
rectosigmoid,
we?
and it's very small, 2 millimeters.
So you're not worried about
I wouldn't
leaving
worry
that there?
in an 86-year-old patient with other comorbidities. I think the major concern is but indeed we can cut through it. There is a major.
That's probably not the best idea to cut through that. What is the? I mean, let's say it's not an 86-year-old with significant comorbidity, right? Let's say it's a 30-year-old, 35-year-old, no comorbidity. Would you leave that there? I'm just being provocative because, of course, these are interesting conversations for people.
We can draw our incision line here, like below the polyp.
What other option is we leave it on and then cold snare it off after or something, right? Or come back for it in surveillance. Of course, we have to know where it is, so you'd want to leave a mark. But yeah, these are other options. So, okay, I agree. Let's ignore it. Okay, so why don't you put your marks where you want to do the incision?
This is scary. Okay, so out.
Before you start, what about thinking outside the box a bit? Is there a role in this case for pre-ligation of this, even if we're going to do ESD?
To be honest, maybe has been done, but I've never heard about it. So I'm not sure. I don't think, to be honest, because the principle of ESD is to have the maximal control of everything. So isolation of the vessels, prophylactic coagulation with Grasper if it is needed. So ligation is like a blinded prophylactic hemostasis. We can do a precise and...
Totally agree with all of that. However, looking at this, there's not much mucosa in between that vessel and the knife. What can we, thinking out of the box? I mean, you're gonna have to confront that, right? There's no option. If you just look a bit down the stalk. So one option would be to take the stalk in the middle, where it's more covered there, or put some injection in, right? But at a certain point, you're going to have to address that problem. So the question is, what is the safest way to address that problem in an 86-year-old with multiple comorbidity who probably doesn't want to lose 10 pints of blood, right? Okay,
maybe we can draw the incision line here, but I'm not sure this is changes a lot.
Okay, so let's think about something else. So I think the two options are inject and be really careful and pre-coagulate that maybe with a Coag Grasper. I think that's something you should be thinking about. Or pre-ligate it. So what is wrong with putting a ligation loop and then going a couple of a centimetre above it with ESD? Okay, good. Now let's finalise it.
So now,
just check now where your completion is, I think, because
so here.
How secure are we on the marks? I'm not 100% sure. Find another incision and you'll be very happy, I think.
here there's
Perfect. Okay, so inject that zone, I would, now. And then I think you're ready to just cut the whole thing.
Close. Can you hold?
Yep.
You don't need the needle to inject it.
I would do it with the needle.
That's what
Yeah.
I would do.
Yeah, I want
Also, especially because of the potential blood vessel. We still haven't encountered it, but maybe maybe we will encounter it in a minute.
It's hiding in plain sight.
I would like more feedback from the audience this time about the procedure and what is good, what is bad. Because one way, and I don't like using this method of education, but one way of really making yourself focus on a procedure is knowing that after the procedure you'll be asked specifically to give 2 good things and 2 improvement points on the procedure. So I would be grateful if those in the seminar room could be thinking about that. What are they going to say? Because I'm doing all the feedback, and so is John and Lobka as well. But I want you guys to give the feedback, because by providing feedback, potentially you can actually optimize, 1, your ability, that's probably okay. 1, your ability to train, maybe a bit more there.
Yeah.
And 2,
No.
2, your understanding of the procedure. So from everybody, I would like 2, it doesn't matter if they're the same as other people's, but 2 things that are going good here, 2 things which you could say are being done well, and 2 which could be improved.
You don't want those right now, do you?
No, I want them in the
Or
feedback.
do you? Yeah, that's it.
So you've got time to think about it. Chat. I can see PJ with it out on his phone right now. In the background.
Thank you, David.
No problem. Okay, excellent. So I think this was the right call for the needle.
So do you think here, like doing the so-called trimming, because maybe there is some here, so that's why it's not completely open, do you think may be useful? And if so, with cut or coagulation current?
I would complete the incision. And then I would do exactly that. I would just find your most easy access and dissect from there, because this is such a thin stalk that you'll be through it in no time. But I would complete the incision, because that's going to mean that you can just complete it.
Thank you.
Het de volgende patiënt al gebeld?
Because if by mistake I am doing that differently, I'm not saying right or wrong, totally different things, but I do tend to look at a little bit
Go from below maybe.
and dissect as I go a little bit if I see it's quite superficial my incision.
Yep.
Yeah, just to have no surprises at the end, but I don't think there's a right or wrong.
Well, I do think there's a right or wrong. I have to disagree. I think that if there is you should cut through it. But here I don't see Maybe I wasn't clear about that. I don't see I think it's just that the submucosa needs to be opened. Okay, good. Good, that's enough. Yeah. All right, let's keep going down. I know your point, though. What you mean, though, that is you want to make sure you're completely open. I totally agree with that.
With hindsight, maybe the decision to cut very close to the wall, I don't know if it was wrong, but for sure made
Oncologically, definitely wasn't wrong.
Exactly, but made the procedure more difficult for sure, because of we had to mind not just the vessels, as John said, but also the muscle, because it was retracted. So we had to all the time find carefully the dissection plane to do it safely. And then it took a lot of time to adjust the procedure while we proceed. For sure, this goes with experience. You can do the good decision more easily, more quickly, or I don't know. Sometimes it just
Sometimes it just takes time because you make the wrong decision first.